Hi everyone, welcome back to Money Monday. As you know, I'm incredibly passionate and determined to help educate everyone and inspire them to grow and build realistic long-term financial independence and freedom for yourself and for your family and loved ones. And one of my key messages is for you guys is to, have a really good balance in life when it comes to money. Obviously, enjoying your money and buying things that you use, value, love, and appreciate, but also about making smart and savvy, wise financial decisions that are going to benefit you now and well into your future. I want you to look back with the advice that I've given you and say, I'm so glad I listened to Canna. I made some really smart decisions that have allowed me to be where I am today. So, and as one of my key things is about, to help build and grow your long-term financial freedom independence is buying and investing in long-term passive income streams. And passive income is income that you earn without physically having to do anything. For example, earning interest off your bank account, earning dividends, which is my favorite, earning rent off your investment properties, income that you don't physically have to get out of bed or do anything to actually earn. It flows into you. And yes, the journey for building long-term financial freedom independence is a long one. It takes a lot of work, focus and determination, and it's full of plenty of challenges, and definitely is a strategy that has to be adjusted as your life naturally evolves. But it's a very powerful one and a very empowering journey, for you to decide to embark. So if you watch my channel, obviously you're aware of that passion of mine, but you're also aware that I really like to make people aware of the danger of debt, particularly personal debt. And when I say personal debt, I mean examples of that are things like credit card debt, car loans, personal loans, and even home loans to a certain degree. And the reason why I don't like personal debt, or I think it should be minimized as much as possible, is because for three key reasons. One being that often those assets we buy are, assets that depreciate in value. For example, things we pay for on our credit card, there's no real value of those, the clothes that you've bought or the handbags. Or, for example, a car, you buy a car and it depreciates in value very quickly. The next thing is the interest on that type of debt does not provide you with any tax advantages, and you've got to earn that money to then and pay tax on that money before you pay that interest. So it can be a really huge waste of your hard-earned cash. And then the final reason why I hate personal debt is because it doesn't provide you with any passive income. As much as I love, buying beautiful handbags and shoes, they don't provide any income to me. So, life is all about having a good balance with your money and enjoying your money, because obviously we come into this world with nothing and we leave with nothing, but we need to have a really good balance on enjoying the things that we want to use our money for, but also being sensible and wise with our money so that we never bring in any unnecessary stress into our financial well-being. This video is focused around investing versus debt reduction. And a lot of people have been asking me, do I still invest, or why do I still invest and, buy shares when I'm also focusing on, paying off my home loan? And I think this is a fantastic question to be asking, and the fact that I'm seeing this question means that you guys are understanding what I'm talking about, you're interested in growing your knowledge, and you're also probably wondering about what you can do in your financial affairs, to get ahead. Now, one strategy that I use in my personal financial situation is called debt recycling. Because I have a home loan, which am determined to pay off as quickly as possible, because I do not want to be 60 still paying off a home loan. That's just insane. And I am really passionate about building up my investment portfolio and my building and continue to build up my long-term passive income stream. What I do is I have it's called a debt recycling strategy, where as my home loan comes down, I go back to my bank and I increase my investment loan. So what I am essentially doing is shifting my personal debt into investment debt. And it means, you know, my personal debt, my home loan is obviously not tax deductible, doesn't provide me passive income, and yes, my home might grow in value, but it's all relative to everybody else in my area, so I don't really count or rely on that capital growth of my home at all. But as the debt comes down, and as I guess my mortgage reduces and my timeline of when my mortgage will eventually be paid off, I go back to the bank and I ask to borrow that money. So for example, say I manage to knock, say, $20,000 off my home loan. I go back to the bank, I contact them and say, I've paid off this much money. They will then increase my investment loan by $20,000, which enables me to go and take $20,000 and go and invest that money into my investment portfolio and grow more long-term passive income and capital growth orientated investments. And for me personally, you know, I'm very passionate about investing in shares because they match my long-term goals and my attitude towards investing, you know, my risk levels and my understanding of market volatility. So this is a very, very powerful way of I guess tackling two different goals of debt reduction and wealth creation at the same time. It means that I do not have to wait until I've, you know, in 30 years time when I've paid off my home loan, or when I'm, say, 60 years old and I start investing, because I don't want, you know, investing is something I want to get on board today. I do not want to have to wait a long time and miss out on some potentially amazing buying opportunities in the markets or investment opportunities that get presented to me. I want to be able to seize those and make the most of it and continue on diversifying my financial wealth outside my home. Because a lot of people sort of think, oh, you know, my home is my biggest asset, and that's fine and that's great. But, you know, if you want to reduce your risk, you need to be diversifying to other areas. And that, if you own a home, it means diversifying outside of, you know, Australian residential property or wherever you might live in the world. Now, also it means that I'm obviously on track to achieving my own personal financial goals a lot sooner, which, you know, as I get closer and closer to achieving my financial goals, you know, I build up my momentum and my attitude and my discipline and focus towards achieving these goals, which, you know, keeps me focused and concentrating on achieving these. And as I said, it allows me to access potentially great investment opportunities that come my way. But having said this, just because I'm doing this is definitely not advice that you should be going to do this. Borrowing money obviously comes with significant risks that you really need to understand before you employ a strategy like this. You know, first of all, when you borrow to invest, obviously you magnify your gains, but you also risk magnifying your loss. So in that example, say I invested $20,000 and I made a very bad investment decision, which does happen, or the investment that I invested in hasn't done very well. Those losses are obviously magnified because I've actually borrowed that money to invest, and it's, you know, gone down in value. So, you know, that's something that has to be considered when you're, you know, using this type of strategy. The second thing is, obviously I need to make sure that I can afford to service that $20,000 investment loan. Because I'm used to paying off my mortgage at a certain level, I need to make sure I've got the sufficient cash flow to be able to service that, you know, that $20,000 increase in my investment loan. Even though my personal loan's gone down, I want to make sure that I'm still actively reducing my personal debt as quickly as possible, but also comfortably able to service that increase in my investment loan by $20,000. I obviously always need to understand exactly what I'm investing, and I always say never invest in something you don't understand. If you don't understand it, doesn't mean don't invest in it, just don't invest in it until you are 100% certain of what you're doing and you can see the advantages and the value of that investment decision. And the final point about, you know, borrowing to invest, because obviously you are borrowing to invest, you are paying interest. You want to be investing in long-term investments. So there's no point borrowing money and then parking it in cash, because I might be borrowing at, say, 6% and then putting it in cash and I'm only going to earn 3%. That means my money's going backwards. I want to be earning, from a long-term perspective, a return greater than the cost of borrowing. So for me, that means investing in capital growth orientated investments, which typically are, property, Australian shares and international shares. Historically speaking, these investments provide, long-term returns which are greater than the historical cost of borrowing to invest. And I guess also one a very important final point I should make is obviously always having that buffer or emergency money, so that if something happens, I can obviously continue to service my home loan, or I've got money to rely on that can keep me afloat for a certain period of time, and I can continue on servicing all my loans without sort of any sort of financial stress or struggle. I'm going to be doing a lot more videos on this because this is a very, very important strategy for you to understand. So I recommend watching this video a few times over until it makes more sense. And I'm going to be doing lots of projections and examples showing you the difference between someone who employs this type of strategy in their situation versus someone who doesn't. So you can really see and understand the long-term benefits of this. This is obviously a slightly long video for you. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel, and please make sure you also subscribe to the sugarmama.tv website, because there's even more information and you can continue on growing and building your financial knowledge and inspiration through my weekly Sugar Hit, which comes out every Thursday or Friday. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope it's been of value to you. I will catch you on my next Monday Money video shortly. Ciao for now. Bye.